Cooking in Quarantine with Mary. I'm Mary and today we are making lasagna. So the lasagna, the way I make it is a little bit different. I do not boil the noodles ahead of time. I use these oven-ready lasagna sheets. If you don't have these sheets, they're the best thing ever. You should really try them. But if you have regular lasagna noodles where you boil them and cook them first and then use them, go ahead and use those. You probably just won't need as much sauce. You have to use a little bit more sauce because the sauce is what cooks these lasagna noodles. So we're gonna start with making the cheese mixture that goes into the lasagna. Most kind of traditional lasagna uses ricotta. I use cottage cheese. It's cheaper. You can find it everywhere. So we're gonna put a whole thing of cottage cheese in, if I can get enough. When I make my lasagna at home for my family, I usually make 3 or 4 of these at a time, and I use these tin foil, aluminum foil baking dishes, and I make one for the night that we're gonna eat, and then I put the rest of them in the freezer. So these freeze really well, and I do it assembly line style, and this whole thing is full of this stuff. It's great, and it's, you might as well make it while you're in there. So I have cottage cheese, parsley. If you don't like parsley, you don't have to use it. If you don't have fresh parsley, you can always use the dried stuff. This is seasoning salt, garlic, and pepper. I like lots of pepper, so lots and lots of pepper. And then Parmesan cheese. And we're gonna give this a quick stir. And this is where I like to taste it. So after we get this all stirred together, we're gonna taste it before we put the egg in. We're gonna put 1 egg in, but you wanna make sure you have enough flavor. Every part of it needs to be flavored well. So most dishes, you wanna flavor each individual thing on its own. We're just gonna give this a little taste here. Let me grab a spoon. It tastes good. Perfect. Sorry, my dog is in the background part. So our cheese mixture is all ready. We're going to be making our lasagna. Like, how easy is that? So I usually use just regular Hunt's in the can, super cheap, inexpensive, really good though. You can use whatever kind of sauce that you want. Today we're actually using special sauce. One of the restaurants in town that is no longer serving dinners is letting you order their pasta sauce, marinara sauce, different things from them directly. So we are having a treat, and we are having some Gambaretti's pasta sauce tonight with our lasagna. So we are super excited. Love their marinara sauce, it's the best. So we're just putting in a little bit at the bottom, and we're gonna start with our noodles. So you're gonna go sauce, noodles, cheese mixture, regular cheese, and repeat. So we'll just do a couple layers here so you can see how I do it. You don't need a lot, you're gonna kind of spread it out. We're gonna have a couple layers here. So like I said, I like to have a bunch of these in the freezer. They're great when company comes over, kind of spur of the moment, or a long week at work. I feel like this is a really good time. Take advantage while we're home, right? Quarantined, to make some freezer meals so that when we all go back to work, life isn't quite as hectic. I will make sure this recipe is in the description, but I'll also put a link to a bunch of other dinners that I like to have in my freezer. Like the chicken pot pie that we made the other day. That one freezes really well. Enchiladas freeze really well. So I'll make sure to give you a list of all the ones I like to have. So just some cheese. I have mozzarella, and then I have a Mexican style blend. And then we're gonna do sauce again. So we're just kind of building our layers. We'll probably end up doing about 3 layers here. Then I like to go the opposite direction with my noodles. I know that's probably not like traditional, but that's the way I like to do it. and some more cheese. So I'm gonna get this all piled up and loaded up, and I'll come back to you and let you see it right before we put it into the oven. All right, so our lasagna is ready to go in the oven. We have our last layer, which is the noodles with some sauce and some cheese. We're gonna cover it with tin foil. It's gonna go in the oven for about an hour. We'll check on it, make sure it's all nice and bubbly, and then we'll probably take the top off the aluminum foil here for the last 15 minutes and let it get all nice and golden brown. If you were going to do this frozen, you'd want to make sure it's unthawed almost completely. If it's still a little bit frozen, it's just going to take a lot longer in the oven. So if you're going to put one of these in the freezer, take it out a couple days ahead, put it in the fridge, and then pop it in the oven. So we're going to put this in. We'll come back when it's nice and golden brown and bubbly. Our lasagna is done, and it is gorgeous and bubbly. It did take about an hour and a half, and in the last couple minutes I put the broiler on because I like it when everything gets all golden. I'm going to dish this up a little bit here so you can see how those noodles worked out, since remember they were not cooked ahead of time. They're ones that you bake in the oven with, and everything cooks it all in there. So it's lots of sauce. The sauce is what cooks the noodles. See if I can get it out of here without just making a complete mess. Should have made it smaller. Look at that. Ooh. So we are super excited about having our Gambaretti sauce in here, but any sauce that you like is going to work out great. Hope that you enjoyed this super easy lasagna dinner. We're going to have this with some salad, some vegetables. Thanks for spending some quality quarantine cooking time with me.